Welcome to the Red Gauge Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Kyle. This is Josh. Today we have two guests in the house, which has never happened before. It's a brand new experience for us. I'm
I
really
feel like I
excited about
wanted
it.
like a sound box or something like wah, 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 wah.
That should just be your one thing is the air horn sound. You can just fire that off whenever you're feeling good about stuff. So welcome back, Josh Gibson and Danny Myers-Glynn. So really happy to have you guys back again. Thank you so much for showing up. We're excited to have you guys here. We were hoping to talk a little bit about the relationship between a lifter and their coach, what it's like having remote coaching. But to start us out, Josh has prepared a game.
Yeah, we're gonna start out hot here, Josh, and you don't know anything about this, so get ready to go. You're a younger man. Did you ever watch the Newlywed Game or know what the Newlywed Game is? So this
I
is
don't.
that's even
No,
better.
no.
So the Newlywed Game, I'll just preface this, is they would get a couple together and they would ask, let's say the wife, like, what is your favorite meal? And then they would bring the husband in and he would be like, popcorn chicken. And she would be like, nah, I've never had that in my life. And he would look completely foolish on national TV. So you're basically the husband in this scenario, and we're going to see how well you know Danny.
We renamed it to Newly
Yeah,
Coach
the
Game.
newly coach
Oh,
game.
I love
Newly
that.
Coach
I
Game.
love that.
You're not newly coach, the oldie coach.
Yeah, Oldie Coach Game. There we
Is
go.
he still going to be the coach game?
The stakes are really high.
Yeah, because if you don't do well, I will be taking a different coach to nationals next week. So
It's just hire one right now. Like, all right.
What
So
you guys didn't capture was me pretend strangling Danny before the podcast. I'm glad you guys didn't have that included in the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if that comes back out. So we asked 5 hard-hitting weightlifting or powerlifting inspired questions, and we're going to ask. She's already answered, and then we're going to see what you
Okay.
think. So the first one
Okay.
is on a big lift. What is in Danny's headphones? What
First
is
answer, I prevail.
oh my god,
Boom! Wah, 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 wah.
you're gonna get that one.
Exactly. All right, that's pretty
Oh,
good.
come on, Danny. It's been 5
Damn.
years.
I know.
That was pretty good. I'm already a
That
little
was really
surprised
good. Like
here.
you didn't even struggle with that one.
Okay.
No
You said
hesitation.
first answer. What would be your second one?
Oh, this one's a little more difficult. I'm going to pass that impromptu question that wasn't actually included. I'm going to take my 100%.
All right. There we go. That's a
fair.
very smart move.
Yeah.
He has seen the game.
Yeah.
All right. Currently, what is Danny's favorite? Squat, bench, or deadlift?
Deadlift.
What was it?
Danny.
No, it was that. It was
It
deadlift.
was it.
Oh,
Danny,
yeah,
it was deadlift.
We thought she was going to catch you on that one.
Yeah.
I thought she was. I thought she was going to say squat.
It used to be squat though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we had a little conversation off air about why squat changes over time with a lifter sometimes. So
Yeah.
I mentioned that I've been a lot of different body weights in my lifting career. Like I've been 272, 205, right? And I can tell you for sure that squatting with a nice big belly feels amazing, right? Like,
So when you're
all the-
squatting as much as you can deadlift, game over.
Yeah,
Game over.
And then when you get real lean and you're squatting, you're like, there's just nothing there. I'm just floating out in air.
Yeah.
Nothing feels
Yeah.
good about it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
basically just encapsulated my entire time squatting.
That's what I was
exactly
going
how
to
it
say.
feels.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm built like Mike Wazowski. So it's like I'm just
Yeah.
all up here and just too little stiff. So squat has never felt great.
Oh
No.
God.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Third question. 2 for 2. All right. What is Danny's least favorite accessory?
Oh, this is a really great question.
The stalling. The stalling has
I know.
begun.
I'm stalling. My brain is just flipping through them.
I'm going to make it easier on you and tell you that she did give us more than one option.
I
She
did.
has
Okay.
a few that she loathes.
Okay. I'm just gonna say this and hope that it's correct. I would say the split squat.
Oh, good.
I do be complaining about them.
Okay.
Pretty much any form of freestanding row. So pendulay or
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I
That's
complain
right.
about those a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to know a special fact about the row that
Sure.
only I would know?
Yeah.
Danny does 70 kilos every single time. That's the only weight she will do.
I
When
did
we
80
tried to
last
code her into
week.
like 72 and a half, she's like, no, I'm not doing it.
No, it's Big Red. That's it. Big Red.
Listen, it's because he programs it right after I've just deadlifted my ass off, and I'm like, my back is fucking tired. Like, I can't
Yeah.
do more than 70. I'm tired.
Yeah.
No matter how much you deadlift it, it is exactly the
Oh,
same.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just I've been experimenting with bent over rows because I always avoided them because I hated them. No particular reason. I just didn't like
Yeah.
doing them, so I did other stuff. And I found that like this is my little weightlifting tip: is if you breathe in on the eccentric part, breathe in on the way down, it feels a lot more stable and a lot less disgusting. So
Oh,
know,
interesting. I've
yeah.
never tried that.
mind your
Me
breathing.
taking notes.
Yeah.
Now, Kyle, how much are you rowing? Like weight wise?
I mean,
72 and a half.
I literally just managed to tweak my back doing rows. And so before it was like whatever, 365 for a set of 15.
Holy
And now I'm rebuilding.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now I'm rebuilding. So I'm down to like 185 for a set
But
of
kids at home
12.
don't over. Before I tweaked my back.
Yeah.
Let's not skip over
don't
that.
skip over that. Before I didn't take a deload for 9 weeks, even though I swore I would be better about taking deloads. You know?
There's a reason we're in the podcast studio not getting ready for nationals.
Yeah,
because Kyle's
I'm
a
dead.
walking freaking mash.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Move a lot of weight, but not for very long.
2 more questions. 3 for 3 so far.
Okay.
All right. What is Danny's favorite meat?
Oh, I'd say it's the Arnold. It was not the last Arnold, it was the one before. So 2023. 2024. 2024
Yeah.
Arnold.
2024
Yeah.
Arnold. It's on there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
That was a good
Hey,
meet.
There was a second one. Which I can't remember exactly, Danny, how maybe you should say it. Which one, like, would it be the second? Or before that meet, what was her favorite meet? I guess is how you'd say that. So before you killed it at the 2024 Arnold, what was her favorite meet for bonus points?
Yeah, I think it would be I would say my favorite was 2023 Nationals.
Hmm.
Is that right?
Ooh, she said.
What's the buzzer sound that we do when somebody gets something?
Well, I was
Good
thinking it was
base.
the state 2021 meet when we
Okay.
qualified for nationals.
That was really good.
That was a really
good.
cool one.
Yeah.
But also, 2023 nationals was cool as
Yeah.
well. But state 2023 was a great meet. That was
Yeah,
like
when
my
you
best.
pulled 500 pounds.
Yeah, my
That
best
was fucking
overall.
insane.
Yeah, that was a great meet. Yeah.
That was a bonus one, so no negative on that one.
No negative.
Yeah.
Still
Can I-
4
yeah.
for 4.
I'm going to make a comment about that 500-pound pull because we were having a funny conversation about it. And I don't remember how it came up, but I was like, God, yeah, I can't fucking believe you did that. And she's like, yeah, this coach had his ass out, so I had to do it. And I was like, that's one way to describe it. Yeah, he had his
He was
ass
talking
out. So he
shit
pulled
in the
500.
back. He was showing his ass, and I was like, he really was like trying to like, get us. I think he was trying to like out dots us with one of his athletes, and he was like, "Oh, are you guys gonna pull?" And he was like, "Are you gonna pull 500? Like whatever it was, like 490." And I was like, 500. Josh was like,
yeah. Well, Josh,
making a call.
you guys know the pin's like shaking as you're writing the number down. You're like, I guess we'll do it. We'll just fucking throw caution to the wind and see what happens. And she
put 500 in.
yeah.
Josh
She
was
blew
just
it
talking
up.
about his competition day strategy that he may or may not employ on occasion, where like if you have a lifter who's in the lead by a little bit going into their third deadlift, you just have them write a massive deadlift for their third.
Like second place is going to be this.
Yeah.
You know it.
Second place will try to jump it, and then that they're not going to lift the weight. They just go up there and
That's
thank
smart.
everybody for their time, and then let the next guy come in and fail, and they secure first place. And I was like, that's devious, diabolical.
But that's why you got to know what your plan is.
Yeah. But then coach.
Just because this guy goes up there and says, you just got to go, hey, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to get IPR, and if you win, you win. But,
But that guy was trying to do it to Danny, and it backfired.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Did you, what happens when you see him again when you're backstage? You like shove him over or anything?
Do you just ignore him?
Yeah, we just like start moshing and like we fight him and like that's my warm up and then I go pull PR. Yeah.
We're still looking for Josh. All right. Are you ready to go 5 for 5 here?
Last question.
I'm ready.
Yeah. You know this one. I think you know this one.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think he does.
He's got to get it perfectly. All right. What is Danny's favorite meet day snack?
I know it's a candy.
I can't.
How exact do I have to be?
You have to be
It's
exactly as
specific.
exact as she was.
Yeah.
So the same level of specificity. It's like significant digits in scientific
Yeah.
research.
Okay. Could I say? I want to say gummy worms.
It is kind of like a large gummy worm, I guess, like a gummy nightcrawler.
I'd give you a half a point for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
a
is it?
Sweet tart rope rainbow
The
flavor.
rainbow one.
Jesus. Oh yeah. I mean, those are
You
fucking
know.
awesome. Those are awesome. I'm just thinking about. We always cheers before.
Yeah,
And I was thinking about what we cheers, and we've
Yeah.
Well,
cheers
but
a
it
lot
could
of
be
candies.
worms. It could be the ropes. It could
Could be
be
the
rings. Yeah.
peach rings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
All right,
4 out of
4.5.
5 is only 80%. So
4.5 out of 5. I told him.
Oh, you got to okay.
90.
All right, that
So
brings it
90.
up.
That's
to
90%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the dynamic. Like Danny's a much more generous person than I am. No, you got to do those questions again. You got to go the other way.
This is to make it look old.
Danny's a much more generous person than I am. I would have never shared my worms with you. You would have been like, "Can I have one?" And we can. No,
You would have cheers and just taken his worms.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. At a meet is like I have insane energy and I need to be like grounded and tethered. And so if Josh is not like well fed or like caffeinated or like sugared, he also goes insane. And so I'm like, okay, well I brought enough candy for both of us, so you better eat this too. Because if not, we're all gonna have a bad time.
Yeah. I understand that.
It's kind of funny that you said that. So every time that I've gone to the high school nationals, we just had him on, but there's a man named Joe Lewis who's at a Nina. If you're in the high school game, most people know him. But when he's been around, what do you say, 92? He's been at coaching.
Yeah.
Holy
So
shit.
started lifting in 79 or something.
He's been powerlifting.
Yeah.
He hit 700 squat as a masters. Like,
Yeah.
Oh my God.
PR. Like he's still getting stronger at 6'5". Like he's just an awesome guy. Like a very awesome guy. But backstage, I'm always so jealous because I never think about he has a camping chair, a cooler, right? Like has something to put his feet up. It's like I'm just like, God, why do I never think about that? I'm like sitting on the edge of a bench or something like
Totally. Yeah.
metal. It's like that. He is so smart. Like I never think about it.
That's what wisdom looks like.
Bringing some crap.
Yeah.
And he also has 35 lifters that are all at nationals, so he's probably there
Yeah.
for the whole 5-day event at every session.
Wow.
So there's some words of wisdom. Bring a camp chair. So we're gonna reverse this. All right.
Okay.
So now there's some pressure on you, Danny. Like, can you repeat it? So we didn't have these written down, so you're just gonna have to kind of be truthful here.
Yeah. Josh,
Okay.
no lying.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. No lying. Yeah.
Yeah.
No lying.
Yeah.
All right, Danny.
So if Josh was going for a max, what is in his headphones?
So my initial thoughts are something
have to see
sad,
if Josh
something
got it.
emo.
I got it.
Something
I
sad,
got it.
something emo. If he's not about to cry, he doesn't want to listen to it. I can't pick like a song specifically. If I had to choose a band, it would maybe be Bill Murray, but like not all of their stuff is super sad. But I feel like I got the genre and the vibe right.
Yeah, she did, and she just told everyone that I want to cry before I take a big lift, which is great. No one knew that. Nobody at all.
Yeah.
I'm actually very intrigued about like
Yeah.
that emotion.
Yeah.
It's not normally the emotion you want to incite, but I don't know that it's not. I'm going to now watch like soldiers coming home videos because that's what gets me.
Yeah.
You just like get super
Yeah, totally.
Every
Yeah.
time.
like, for a new
Yeah.
bench
Yeah.
max.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're dipping a toe into your space now with the philosophical weightlifting, but why is it that you're looking for despair on the eve of a big lift?
Yeah, it's like, so we think about the big five. We think about like, okay, some people are like, more aggressive and more fiery. I'm just like more neurotic and more sad and more depressive. I think it's like a disposition thing.
Yeah.
So when I get ready for a big lift, it's like, oh, I'm not going to graduate from school, and this woman broke up with me, and it's like, it's
how
like deep dark
is your
shit.
internal monologue
It's dark
walking
shit.
to that
Yeah.
bar. Like,
Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah,
Well,
it's dark.
I want you to feel comfortable in having shared that because I'm sure there's a lot of people who all of a sudden just feel heard and seen right now. Like
Yeah,
they're
totally.
like
Yeah,
their
totally.
feelings matter. I always thought it was funny because people asked me like, "What's your hype song?" And I was like, "I do this to calm down." Like this is my this is the brake pedal for me. Like
You're like
Yeah.
the voices in my head.
yeah.
That's
I
so
don't need a
funny.
hype song. I need to just lay down and
Yeah.
take a nap for 5 minutes
Yeah,
before we
that's
lift.
so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, this is an interesting one. Out of squat, bench, or deadlift, which is his favorite?
I'm gonna have an addendum to that. I want to know if you know snatch or clean and jerk also, since he's a weight.
Ooh.
So
I would say clean and jerk.
okay. What about out
And
of the powerlifting? What about out of the powerlifting ones?
Yeah.
powerlifting, I feel like, is deadlift because, like, okay, I have to tell you guys a story.
Yeah.
One time, I was bitching about sumo deadlift, and I was like, "Ugh, and this is so hard, and blah blah blah, whatever." And this is when he was still coaching me in person, and he was like, "Just do it," and I was like, "You do it if it's so easy." And this motherfucker in his slides cold ripped. It was like 460, just like off the ground, and I was like, "All right, I'm gonna shut up and do this now." So
Yeah.
I think it's deadlift because he's always like,
Yeah.
no matter how much he trains or doesn't train it, it seems like his deadlift is still very strong.
Mhm.
Like snatch grip, sumo. I don't think I've ever seen you pull conventional, Josh, but I would say deadlift and clean and jerk, and I feel like I'm gonna eat part of that.
No,
Second.
she's entirely right, and it's I actually have two funny anecdotes to go along with that. One, the day before gym shut down, so like the whole pandemic started, I told myself I was going to do the Glenn Pendlay max out, like competition max out, and it was jerk from blocks, back squat set of 5 max, and I pulled a max deadlift. And after I maxed my jerk, I did 165 kilos, squatted 182 for 5, and then I pulled 250 for the first time. Like I never pulled a max, like pulled 250, and I was like, okay, after I'm just like do all this training, I'll pull a PR. Second time I ever pulled a sumo max, I told Max Ada, I was like, Max, I'm really good at deadlift. I'm gonna 1 kilo my best deadlift ever without training sumo. I did sumo once, I pulled 230. The second time I pulled 251 and then like flexed at Max. There's a picture of it. I'm like beat red. I'm just like fucking double bicep in front of Max. So deadlift comes super easy. I absolutely love it because it's just the easiest thing in the world. Just grab the weight, pick it up.
Stand up.
It's always funny to me how like some lifts, like your body just will hold on to them, and others they don't.
Yeah,
Like
totally.
if
Yep.
I am not squatting, my squat will drop all the way down to like 275. Even if I'm really strong, even if I'm doing other stuff in the weight room, it'll just like just crater, and then it'll come back up really fast. But like deadlift, that's not really true. I keep a lot of deadlift strength almost no matter what, and I think that's really interesting.
Well, I wonder how much of that has to do with like how messed up your hip is.
Yeah,
That
could
you're
be.
probably supporting a lot of your squat like mobility with just the smallest like inappropriate muscles.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean? Like so
Right.
those probably just lose it immediately.
Yeah.
And you just like all right. So all right, what is that? That's 2 for 2.
2 for
And
2.
half a bonus point for getting the Olympic lift.
Okay.
Yeah,
There you go.
2.5?
maybe we're at 2 because she didn't know the song. She had the
genre.
vibe
So
and
that was
genre.
a
She had the
Yeah.
vibe. She did have the vibe. Yeah.
yeah,
She
Yeah.
a 0.75 for that.
okay.
So that's 2.25. Okay. All right.
We've just turned into the Eastern Bloc judges
At the end of this gimmick, we should be the episode. That's all we brought you guys on here for.
Amazing.
All right. It's taking so long.
Good. I'm having fun.
What is your least favorite accessory?
That's hard. That's hard.
I don't even know
Okay,
if I can pick this
Wait,
one
Danny's
for
gotta go first.
him.
Danny's gotta go first.
Yeah, because he trains so different than I do because he trains Olympic weightlifting, and
Yeah, it's gonna
every
be
time I talk to him, he has someone different writing his program. So I don't know. I'm gonna guess something like something from the blocks maybe, or like racked at the chest that he has to do like a bunch of them. Like I feel like he puts the like when we've trained together, he puts them off, and it's like I don't want to do these right now.
Mm.
So
No.
that's a great guess. It's a very
But
great
wrong.
guess. But it's wrong. No, it's anything squatting related because Kyle, similar to you, like
Yeah.
my squat, my knees don't feel great. The squatting
Yeah.
doesn't feel great. It never feels great. But I still do it because I want big legs, you know?
Yeah, want to be jacked.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of if you're doing presses from the jerk block.
Yeah.
He said anything squat related.
Yeah.
And there is
Oh,
It's a quarter of a point.
squat. Yeah, I
Give
think
me
it's
a
a
quarter of a
quarter
point.
We're up to
2.5.
2.5. Yeah.
He almost said
Okay,
3.5.
okay.
Almost got
No,
a 3-point and quarter out of that one.
The Russian judges say 3.5. Sorry, Russian judges, if you're fans of the show. We love you. All right, that was pretty. All right. Oh, this one's kind of hard because we talked about it. Favorite meat?
Well, let's do a favorite meet that Josh has competed at,
Oh,
not one
there
that
we
he's
go.
coached at.
Out of
He's not
all
gonna
the
know.
ones-
No, and he hasn't competed a whole lot since he's been coaching me,
Yeah.
so
Mm.
I can this is like a wild card guess, but I would say that one of your favorite meets is that meet that Julie did, that all women's meet that she squatted 122. And it was just like not like out of nowhere. She trained her ass off for that. But that was such a cool moment, and I think it was a really cool moment for you as a coach. Or Leah's most recent meet.
No, and I would say that. So as a coach, so you, Kyle and Josh, you guys know this. Like I've coached Julie for around 8 years. She started powerlifting with me, peaked as a powerlifter, had a kid, then got into weightlifting, competed at the Arnold, got back into powerlifting, and like 8 years later, all-time PR to squat. And I talk about like out of body experiences. Like I've never felt more out of my body than when she squatted that, and I started screaming my face off. And I just remember like she stands up, I stand up, I'm screaming, and then I start to get dizzy and feel like I'm going to pass out. And I was like, okay, that was like an intense, like cathartic moment. One of my favorite, like ever.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's absolutely incredible. Yeah.
So, what weight class was that squat in?
I think she weighs like 55, walks around like
Yeah.
52,
So,
53,
2.5 times
54.
body weight.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Insane.
It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, coaching rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome. It's fucking awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's still. I mean, I've told the story on the podcast, where I may have told the story to Josh before, but one of my absolute favorite moments on the ever coaching was watching a girl deadlift 70 pounds for her third deadlift, and just had a nuclear meltdown
Yeah.
afterward because it was
Incredible.
recovering from. She had her whole spine reconstructed, and I was just
Wow.
like,
Holy
this is
shit.
the
Unreal.
best, the best thing ever. Seeing somebody get back to being able to like live their life and do
Yeah.
stuff. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way better than anything I've ever done in competition.
That's about
Yeah.
as much as I've done in competition. So.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Ooh. If he was choosing, because now I feel like we're just doing the same snack here. Favorite meat day snack. What is?
I think. Do you have it, Josh? Do you know?
I have an idea.
Okay. I think he's a lot more responsible than me with his carbs on a meat day. So I would guess like a banana with like peanut butter, or like an apple, something like palatable and like easy to eat. That's like responsible.
Just sad music and a banana.
Yeah.
I mean,
Rock
I'm a big.
star.
I tell people all the time, and it's such a fucking stupid answer. And I realize that when they ask me, they're like, "Hey, what do you want to eat?" And I'm like, "Well, something with like vegetables and a protein." And I'm like, "That's a dumb fucking answer." But like, realistically, I want a salad and like some really good chicken or a steak. As far as like meat days would go, Danny's got these chocolate chip bars from Costco. Is that where you get them from?
Yeah,
and
they're
fucking
so good.
awesome. They're
The
so
Kirkland
fucking
brand,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, the Kirkland brand, just like a little
Yeah.
chocolate chip, kind of chewy bar. And she
Yeah.
always has one because I never
do.
eat and I always show up hungry. And she pulls it out of the bottom of her big ass bag. It's like she's got luggage and she's going on a foreign trip, and gives it to me. So
The bag
Yeah.
is 2 feet in diameter and 5
It
feet.
is.
oh, it's huge.
I'll send
Oh,
you a picture of
yeah.
it. It's giant.
It's massive.
It has compartments, and on the bottom there's a zipper like spot for shoes. So it is
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah.
Pretty intense.
Yeah.
She pulls the cooler out of it. Like,
Yeah. And a chair. There's a camping chair in it as well.
Yeah.
So
Joe Lewis.
it's in
God,
there.
he comes out. Yeah.
With his
All
camping
35
chair
of his athletes too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
The coaches backstage when they don't pay for a pass.
Yeah, you just hide them in the bag.
That's
Those,
so funny.
they get spendy having to pay for a bunch
Yeah.
of freaking coaching passes. All right.
Yeah,
So
Josh, you won.
Josh wins.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I'll take it. I'll take
Yeah.
it.
That feels appropriate on account of the fact that it's your job to know stuff about her.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that went in there.
You know what's sad? So I just made that paper right here, which is it is under a desk. There's like this much space that you could possibly.
Wow.
I was trying to hit the camera lens and I missed by 3 feet and made it in the garbage. Oh, all right.
I
Incredible.
want to give you guys credit. That was a fucking awesome segment. I would
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
love for
fun.
you guys to continue doing this. I think that's
Yeah, but
really fun. It's a great way
Yeah.
to podcast. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, there's no other pair. I mean, like maybe
That's
like Max and somebody. He's
Yeah,
known
we
a lot
could
of
we
people.
maybe get Josh and Max on. They've done a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
stuff together.
Oh
Josh,
yeah.
my
That'd be
Josh,
god.
fun.
you are
Do
now
it.
just stuck into the
Yeah,
newlywed
yeah.
game with every other. It's gonna
It's
be
okay. I'm single.
Yeah.
I'm single.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Whatever.
look at him and be like,
No big
oh,
deal.
I think this guy.
But here's the thing. I'm gonna be better than Chance with everyone. I guarantee it. I'm very attentive. I'm very aware.
Yeah.
I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna be pretty good at this.
Yeah.
Pretty good at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one, it was fun for us, but two, it shows off one of your strengths, right? You're a curious
It does.
person,
That's right.
good
Yeah.
recall,
There you
caring.
go. There you
In a
go.
year, we're gonna look back having the largest weightlifting related newlywed game podcast. And
It's
we
so
don't
funny.
even talk about anything anymore. It's
not at
just
all.
we get guests
Yeah.
on and do the newlywed.
That's
Yeah.
game.
hilarious.
It's so
Whoever
funny.
owns the newlywed game.
The
You guys
newlywed
so
think
funny.
it's our game.
Yeah, they sent a cease and desist. They're like, actually, stop.
that could go kind of sad though. Like if it,
Yeah.
I was comfortable because I feel like Josh is actually a pretty attentive person. But like that definitely could go where it's like I've been
Yeah.
coaching this person for 6 years.
Yeah.
Oof.
it's
0 for 5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like they like reggae.
Yeah.
They're a big ska reggae guy. Actually, it's prog metal. Yeah, that'd be a good time. That'd be good. That is my kind of music.
Write
prog
that
metal.
down.
I'm a prog
New
metal.
podcast idea.
New podcast
New
idea.
podcast idea. That's so
I'm just
funny.
gonna write new podcast idea, but not write down what the rest of it was.
No, it'll be awesome. We'll go back to those notes and be like,
I wrote do games.
all right,
I like the idea of doing games.
doing
It's
some
fun.
games.
Yeah.
It kind of fits because we had early on. I don't know if it was still around when Danny came on, but I had the Monroe's random ass question.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah.
That slowly got
Slowly got whittled away.
whittled away. Yeah, kind of ran out of random ass questions. Like why I said it became Monroe's not so random, definitely specific to the guest's question. Like,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and sometimes it was awesome and it was a fun thing, and sometimes it was just Kyle would obviously say something absolutely stupid, some way too specific for anybody to know, and
Yeah.
then sometimes the guests were like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
All right,
real fast.
good segment there. All right, should we start the show?
Yeah.
30
Let's
minutes
do
in?
it.
Yeah. Here
We
Yeah.
got about 30 minutes left.
Welcome
Yeah.
to the Red Gauge Podcast. No, I'm just kidding. So, do you guys want to run us through? Normally, we just start by asking people how they got into sport. But do you guys want to, since we're here to talk about like the coachee relationship or the athlete supportee relationship, do you guys want to tell us a little bit about like how you guys got connected and like what you look for in athletes or what you look for in coaches? What?
I don't know. I can't remember if this was before we recorded.
What?
Have we said the reason we have you guys on right now is on the 29th?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember if that
I
was
forgot.
on camera or not.
I don't
On
think
the
it was.
29th, USAPL Raw Nationals.
Yeah. So we wanted to talk a little bit about the prep for that also.
Yep.
So yeah,
So-
that's coming.
Okay.
Don't.
Yeah.
We'll keep an eye on time. I won't go too long.
Josh, I'll tell my side, and then you can kind of fill in the gaps of how we got started.
Sure. Yeah.
God, I don't know, this was so long ago. 2019, I kind of just like, my husband was like, let's go to this gym. He was actually being trained by Josh at the time for Olympic weightlifting. He was like, just come with me. And I was like, super anti-gym. Like, I had always really struggled with like feeling like I belonged in the gym and feeling like I had to have like a gym body to go to the gym. And I actually remember having this like visceral response and being like, I don't want to go. They're going to judge me. Whatever. I went and I was like, you know what? I did powerlifting for 1 year in high school. I'll just do some of those movements. So I was doing like an internet, like 5x5.
Mhm.
And I should not say all like powerlifting. I was doing squat and deadlift 5x5. And I was like, bench, nah.
Not so much.
Which is why my bench sucks now, actually. And I think I just like one day I was like, I think I could probably squat 300 pounds. And I did it. And but at that point, like Josh and I had been in like the same weight room, we'd kind of like cross paths and like talked maybe like here and there. And I'll remember this forever, Josh. I was going for like a heavy whatever it was. And I did it. And you came up to me and you were like, hey, what were you listening to? And I was like, oh, I was listening to Atreyu, which is like a super old, like from like the early 2000s, super
Hey
old,
now.
right? Like
Hey now.
I feel metal. Okay, they're like a metal band.
That was in high school.
Yeah, well, I was in junior high. It's a long time ago. Um, and he was like, "No shit, you were listening to a trade," and I was like, "Yeah, my ears are like bleeding from like how loud it was," and I was like, "Can't you hear it? Like, can't you hear how loud it is?" And then after I did that, I was like, maybe I should compete. Like, I don't know what it was in me that I was like, I want to compete, but I was like, why not? Like, let's just do it. So I asked Josh if he would coach me. And Josh, you can tell your side of this, but I think he was like, you don't know how strong you are. And I was just like, I'm just lifting the weight. Like, I'm just putting it on the bar and lifting it because I can do it. Um, and I will also always remember this that we sat down at that gym and he was like, what do you need out of a coach? And I was like, I need someone to help me like process emotions because I'm a deeply emotional person. And at that time, Josh was like, got it. And I feel like he's like with a broom, like comforting me, like, yeah, yeah, sure. Like, yeah, I'll help you process that. Um, and then from there, I was just like, let's do it. And then gym shut down in 2020. I mean, like, I think he had written like 1 week of programming for me before the gym shut down. And then I started lifting on my porch. My husband found us a CrossFit gym that was selling equipment. We lifted on our porch for that whole time, got back to the gym, and I was like, okay, well, here we go to state. It had been postponed. Um, and I remember like feeling really like, I was like, oh, I'm the strongest person ever. And Josh told me, like, yeah, just be ready because like state brings out the freaks. And I was like, okay, what if am I a freak? Like, I want to win. And he was right. Like there was, I competed against, I think Amanda Dahl that year, who is an
Mm.
incredible lifter. At that time it was 84 plus, so all these weight class changes. Dominated me by like 60 kilos on her total, and I was like, oh, he's right. Like there are freaks.
Hey, staying
And
within
then
60 kilos for your first meet is a pretty big achievement for competing against Amanda. She's no
Yeah,
joke.
yeah, seriously.
she's
Yeah.
insane. She's
Yeah, yeah.
insane. Um, and from there, I think our like athlete coach relationship just like evolved, and like I have really seen like me and Josh grow together. So like my needs have changed significantly because I'm competing at like such a higher level now. And I was just having this conversation with him a couple days ago of like the stakes are so much higher. There's so much more
Yeah.
that I'm expecting from myself. And like he has never missed a beat. Like he's always been there to like talk me through or bring me down or like rationalize with me or like whatever it is. So that's how we got started. And like it's just been cool to like look at how many meets like we've done over the last few years. And I feel really lucky because there's a lot of coaches that aren't attentive, like you were saying, and also don't go to a lot of the meets that their lifters compete in. But Josh has only missed one, and it wasn't because he didn't want to. So like I feel really lucky to have someone that is like as equally invested in me as I am in the sport. And then it just like creates like a really cool, like powerful dynamic between us.
Mm.
And you've never forgiven him for missing that one meet. You've written
Never.
him out of the will.
Never. Never.
Well, to be fair, I showed up. So I showed up and
You
I
did.
walked into the convention center in Columbus,
Yeah.
Ohio, and I was walking to where I thought Danny was, and
Yeah.
I felt like my salivary glands start to kind of like go haywire, and I was like, I'm gonna vomit. So I went to the bathroom. I saw her. She was like, so I went into the bathroom, vomited up like liters of bile because I had like a intestinal blockage that I had to get emergency surgery on.
Yeah.
And I walk out of the bathroom after yakking everything in my body out of my mouth, and I see her, and I'm like, dude, I'm fucked. Like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay. So I drove to my friend's house right next to a hospital, went to the hospital, went and sat in the ER, and then just continued to vomit and got operated on. I was in the hospital for a week and a half, and Danny was like, what am I gonna do?
It was my very
Um,
first meet, so I
yeah,
truly
very first
didn't know
meet.
what to
States,
do.
yeah.
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 It was my very first meet. And I
That
was
is
like, of course he wouldn't show up.
Yeah.
I'm like mad about
It's
it.
funny how
He's in the hospital.
yeah, it's funny how like that's a perfectly reasonable reason to go to the to not be at the
Yeah.
meet, right? Like but still like there's like an element like subconsciously where they're like they abandoned me.
Literally. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and
I
I
think
didn't
it's
know him like super well, so I was like, does he always do this to
Yeah.
people? Like, does he like set them up for a meet and then just not show up?
He just has a
No.
bottle of Ipecac in his car and he's just getting ready for his out. He's like powerlifting me for so long.
uh,
Yeah.
Josh, as you kind of, if you want to kind of talk about how you guys met, but then also we've now talked about it a couple of times because we've always been in-person coaches.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then so since we started this, I've been doing some online coaching, or at least online watching people say they want to get coached and then immediately leave.
yeah.
It's like awesome. I'm glad I just did all that programming. But it is so difficult. But it sounds like you're doing all of the things that I talk about being a good coach, but while online, which is awesome. Just like for me, coaching is so much this. Like Danny, how you were talking
Yeah.
about, like, I'm gonna dump all of my emotions onto you and I just need you to be there. Like that's what I'm really good at. Whereas like for me so far, like I don't get how to do that over an app or a spreadsheet. You know what I'm saying? Like so
Yeah. Questions about how to be a good online coach.
Yeah.
Okay, so first off though, tell us about meeting Danny.
Yeah, and I think you two would be able to relate really well. So I live at the gym, you know, and when I'm coaching, I live at the gym. And there's a stretch for a few years when I was coaching that I was at like in the club 7 days a week, every week. And I remember it was winter. This was a different instance, but it was like winter, it's like insane snow, ice everywhere, and I'm like, I have to go fucking coach. And I'm like trying to convince people, like, yeah, you guys can show up and I'll train, and we'll, yeah, but like I have to coach. I have to be at the gym. Like that's what I need to do. Put off trips, like try not to go anywhere, try not to do anything that's going to intervene, because all I really wanted to do, and this was based off like, you know, ideas from like Don McCullough and Glenn Pinlay, like really old school coaches who have passed now, but it's that idea of like seeing as many reps as possible. And it's like the more reps you can see, the better the coach you're going to be. So I took that to heart. So when Danny was lifting at the same gym I was at, I would try to coach as much as possible. Whoever wanted to be there, I'd show up and I'd coach them, you know, start to finish, entire sessions, and every rep I'm going to watch everything you know, everything you could need from a coach. I'm going to be there along the way. And I remember seeing her lifting and the way she would move like 275 in the squat. I was like, that's not
That's not
normal, you
normal.
know, and she had no fucking clue what she was doing, you know. I was asking her about her bench because she squatted 300 pounds, smashed it, pulled 320 and benched 95. And I'm like, what's going on? She's like, well, I just dumbbell bench once a week. And I'm like, yeah, I understand now. Like you have no clue kind of what you're doing in terms of programming, but really strong, take to training really well. And her side of the conversation, you know, when she retells the story is she asked me like, do you think you can handle me, or can you help me, or what are you going to do when I cry? And then my side of it is, hey, I know you're going to be a freak. I'm just going to kind of be along for the ride. Are you okay with that? Like, I'm just going to be here chilling when you blow up. And I didn't know what that meant. I just knew it was going to happen. And I think Dane Miller has put a bunch of great content out on Instagram, but he'll say, you know, explaining, communicating to kids how far they're going to develop, or how much, you know, how freaky they're going to be eventually if they train consistently and you know, stick to the process. And it's that kind of idea of what I saw in Danny. It was like, I know you're going to be a freak. I don't know what that looks like. I didn't know if I thought it'd be a 500-pound squat and deadlift, but like, she's going to be a freak. You don't squat 300 pounds on accident. You know, you got the material to do it. So that was my first experience, and then the commitment to her, you know, her commitment to her training. And I think what helped her stick with it probably this long is immediately after starting, the gym shut down and she was on her porch filming videos, so you could see like one lower leg while she's deadlifting. Like you could see the back of her right leg, and she's like pulling conventional deadlifts on her porch, which is super tiny. She's got jerk blocks that she pulls the bar off of to bench. You know, it's like, it's as jerry rigged, it's as like just unfathomably difficult as possible. And she saw that through the entire, you know, shutdown, and then came back to the gym and fucking started smashing shit. And I remember she squatted like 365 for 5, and I'm like, here we go. You know, it's like things like that. And then it just kind of kept going. You know, it's been the same process.
That at the beginning, Danny was like, "You're just gonna have to handle my emotion," and then there's like a meme of Josh on the side, like, "I can do it," and he's just been listening to like the saddest shit ever, and he's just like found his client and just rips the
Totally.
music out,
Yeah.
just, like, all the emotion.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Perfect match right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it really has been. Really has been. Yeah.
Yeah. before we get into meet prep, let's talk a little bit about having distance coaches. Like, what do you like, Danny? What are the things that have been really good about distance coaching? Like because obviously you guys have done quite a bit of training in person together, right? And then
Mhm.
also quite a bit not together, right? So like, what works good in the not together thing? And then Josh, maybe like, what's your advice for people who are getting into this space?
Yeah.
I would say I think we've actually trained remote longer than we have trained in person at this
Mhm.
point.
Yeah.
Because he left in 2022 and I was 2 years in and it's now 2025. So really we've been remote coaching for 3 years. Um, I think Josh has like an unrelenting dedication to my success, which maybe is a little bit different for like some of his other athletes. And I don't say that to be like, yeah, like I get more support from Josh, but like I think that like he will take the time, like set the time aside every, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday to review my videos and
Yeah.
give me some type of feedback. And is like, will let me know beforehand, like, hey, I'm going to be, coaching the kids at the high school until this time. I won't be able to get back to you until this. And something that I really appreciate about like that type of remote coaching is what I get is actually like really specific feedback. So like a good example is like I have been busting my ass on belt squats and they're really hard. And he's like, you need to load the weight, you need to blow it up. And I sent him a video the other day and he was like, you need to shift your weight to like push your knees forward. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know that I was doing that wrong. And it's helped me, right, like put everything together and be like, oh, okay, every rep I need to be intentionally pushing my weight forward, controlling my weight, the speed of it down.
Hmm.
And I think that is really powerful rather than like I see people, they'll show me like, oh, this is the feedback that my coach gave me remotely, and it's like great squat, and I'm like, oh, that's all he said. That's all you got.
Yeah.
Um, and like we talk a lot about like the programming like beforehand, like before he writes it or as if he's written it, and then he'll like send me I call it like a podcast, but he'll send me a voice memo that's like 2 to 3 minutes long explaining this, and then I'll have a follow-up question and say, can you explain why we're doing this? Like what is that going to benefit later? So I think part of it is like Josh is willing to take the time to explain everything to me, but I'm also like equally as interested to understand like why is this going to make me better so that I can connect it to like the overall like big goal of like, placing top 3 at nationals, like PRing my dots like in a lower weight class, like things like that. Um the hard part is like Josh is my friend and I miss him. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, remember when we used to train together in person and that was really fun? And that can feel kind of lonely sometimes. Like if my training partner isn't with me, if Josh is like working, whatever, I have to kind of like find it in myself to like motivate myself. So that can be kind of tough. But overall, like I think it works really well. Um, I think it would be harder if I wasn't as like dedicated to my training and
Yeah.
like really um zeroed in on like this big goal that I have at the end of this next week. Oh my God, 9 days. So I think that is like part of it. I think that's in my experience as like a remote athlete, it's like how it works for me.
Yeah, it is a really interesting thing, the like community around training, when you've got
Mhm.
people that
Hmm.
you really love to train with and stuff. It does make the time a lot more palatable,
Yeah.
especially when you're, whatever, 5 of your 6 months into a volume block or something, and you're like, I'm just really tired of doing, all of this work.
Yes.
Like I want to
Wow.
change gears.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like obviously it's a little different now, two full-time jobs, kids, wife and everything, but when I was younger, like I remember going to the gym like on my off day
Yeah.
just cuz I wanted to see the guys that were usually there and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it is a big deal.
Yeah, it becomes a social
Right.
social relief.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Josh, what does a good online coach do?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have actually picked this up, and maybe I'm just shooting shit out of my ass, but I'm actually like a very modest person. Um, like realistically, and I work my ass off like for people that I coach. And the idea is like as a coach, what can you control? And you control the training obviously, but it's like, okay, can I control, how capable someone feels to doing it and doing it well?
Hmm.
Can I help them as much as possible with like whatever technical stuff they're dealing with? And if I'm better or worse at that, that's one thing. But I like to think that I fulfill my side of it of like putting as much effort forward as I can, or at least continually trying to develop my coaching online remotely. So if
Yeah.
it's like video review or feedback or programming responsiveness, and like I have nothing to compare it to. So I think that keeps me a little more open-ended of like I could probably do a better job. I could probably work a little harder. I could probably, help people more. And I see it as very much I can figure out how to get them as far as they want to go. It's just a matter of me like piecing together the putting together the puzzle pieces, so to speak. Um, so I just work really hard. I work really, really hard, and I work a lot.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of that commitment to it. I think is one of the ways to be really good at it. Um, I think that that's going to be impossible for most people. Josh, you talk about having like other jobs or family or other commitments. It's like that's going to be hard. So what you have to do is then develop systems that allow you to do that very efficiently. So like in your spreadsheet, maybe you have like session or and I've newly started thinking about and trying to do this is have session RPE buttons for the days. Um, have little boxes for feedback, have like your own platform where all the videos are dropped and you get video review. So it's like you can create systems that allow you to be like efficient and tackle all those boxes of like how hard's the training, what's the feedback, how do you actually give technical support. You can make that more efficiently done than I probably do, which is I'll respond to every text you send me and text out all the feedback and do whatever else I can, which takes way too much time.
Do you ever feel so like that's a very specific, like you're a very specific type of person to give that kind of feedback and being interested to give that? Do you ever wind up getting clients that are almost like I could see some people that are like, this is too much specific, right? There might be some people that just want you to say, hey, nice squat. Like, have you ever run across
Yeah.
that where it's like, this is so much every week? I don't even know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, so I have this guy. It's a hilarious arc. His name's Eric. Shout out to Eric Ibanova. He so I worked with Weightlifting House, and they had a Patreon account, and I would write their like house program, their like club programming they'd put on Patreon and sell for $1. He did that, and he made great progress. And then he started doing the weightlifting AI. I helped coach him at nationals with Max, and I told him, I'm like, dude, you're a freak. He's like shredded, all muscle, delts are huge. And I'm like, he was a rower. I'm like, oh, you're incredible. I'd love to coach you. So I took him on one-on-one, and he's made great progress at his first 300 kilo total at like 90 kilo body weight. And I won't hear from him for what feels like months, like at all. Like he's like the Batman of remote coaching. I'll like hear from him once, and it's like training's been going really well. Not hear from him again, and then he just sent me a batch of like PRs, and it's like 158 kilo clean double, 175 jerk double, PR triple in the back squat. I'm like, holy shit, you're fucking smashing your training. And I'm not worried because he's smashing it. If he was like shitting the bed, I'd be kind of concerned. But
Right.
no, like you're good, Eric. And I think that's because he did the house program with Weightlifting House, got no feedback, no coaching. Weightlifting AI, no feedback, no coaching, and now he's like, yeah, it's just a really good program from Josh, and then I get meat
Yeah,
coaching.
that's what he's used to.
He's pretty proficient at taking care of business.
Yeah, he's very responsible, super
Right.
sharp dude. Yeah.
Some people, like, obviously it's in person, but all they need is like one high five a day.
Yeah.
Go by,
Totally.
they're killing
Yep.
it. If you stop to talk to them, they would actually be a little annoyed.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
come on,
Wrap it up.
You gave me your high five,
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work out here.
Yeah.
But that's just, you just got to
We
learn
aren't
the
friends. I'm here for business.
Yeah, you got to learn the personalities. But then at the end, like,
Totally. Yeah.
if 4 years later, they're like, you meant so much to me. And it was like,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
sit.
Happy I could be there
I'm
for
glad
you.
that I did so much for you. But
It is funny how much of an overlap there is. Like, you talked about just doing a lot of work, and that's almost the same thing that every coach says they look for in an athlete. Like, I just want a kid who wants to do work. Like,
Yeah,
I want athletes who you have to tell them it's time to stop.
Yeah.
And who would have thought that working hard is
a good idea.
yeah leads
Yeah.
to success. All right. Well, let's get into, we got 20 minutes before Danny's got to bounce. So let's talk about, you guys are getting ready for USAPL Raw Nationals on the 29th.
Which is Where?
Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta.
Atlanta.
I thought that said Georgina on the board there.
It's at Georgina's house actually. Only like 4 people got invited.
real erudite. Special invitation only. So walk us through a little bit of your guys' prep. So like how long ago did you start like meet prep? How long ago did you switch from general work to we're getting ready for nationals?
Yeah, I'll give a few like sound bites, and then Danny, you can give
Yeah.
like your lived experience of it. Um, so the Arnold wrapped up, and it was a performance that it was her first performance at 90. You know, she squatted 182.5, benched like 92.5, and pulled 207.5. It's like, okay, we can breathe for a second because she's just been trimming down and shifting weight classes for so long, and we've been training our asses off for so long. And that kind of culminated in this like just cathartic, like, okay, all this work is kind of just purged out, and this is the performance. And it's like, okay, I, as a coach, we need to readjust something because we have kind of been trailing down. You know, the lifts have kind of been moving down. Performance has kind of been feeling worse. The weights feel heavier and heavier every week. Um, and I was like, okay, I need to reassess this and think about what I know from a principled, um, more like informed standpoint, what adjustments we can make to stimulate her training. And part of that's with the squat. It's like, hey, we're going to bump up frequency. So we got to do something to change the amount of volume or how many times we squat per week. So we started belt squatting. As a way to kind of keep her back fresh and load her legs more. So I just like put that in there far away. I was like, oh, we'll just do this really far out to kind of ease into like higher frequency squatting. With bench press, it was just working on position off the chest. So we did some Spoto press, did some Larson press to kind of keep her back fresh, and then just normal comp bench. And then with deadlift, I went back to the old block pulls, which worked really well for her. Just like a low block pull, deadlift from the floor the other day of the week. And then the big kind of knobs and dials were volumes and intensities, and just trying to play around with those in a way that made sense. And honestly, it worked really, really well. It worked really, really well. And I think we just had a really slow build. It was more gradual than we're used to. And the first block was just progressing volume by number of reps per set. So it's, block 1, we're doing 4s. Block 2, we're doing 6s. Block 3s, we're doing 8s. Same weight across. And it's like, let's just build some capacity back slowly and take things easy. Because I feel like training can always feel rushed, especially in like block periodization models, because you're like, I have 4 weeks. Like, I don't want to waste 4 weeks. I need to PR or do something crazy. And it's like, yeah, but you have 4 weeks, then 4 weeks, then 4, or 5 and 3 and, 4 and 6 or whatever it is. But like, you have different periods. So it's like, just kind of reset. And I wanted to pull back a little bit too far and then start to build slowly. And then once that took, we went from like just progressing reps, per set and keeping the same exercises to her squatting, 170 for 7, which she squatted 182.5 at the Arnold. And then she ended up squatting 182.5 for 4. And she squatted 192.5 recently. So it's like, okay, things have really shifted. She started to develop a lot more in this, with this training's helped her develop a lot more, and push her to a point where she's looking at, PRing her dots, which is a measure of like her being better regardless of body weight.
Yeah.
Or with that in consideration. So I think it's worked really well. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say when I squatted that 170 for 7, I was like, oh shit, this is work. Like, I was like really impatient in the beginning. That kind of like he was talking about, that really slow build. I was like, the same weight again. Like, we're doing the same. Like, I know it's more reps, but like again. And he was like, trust me, trust me, trust me. Like, we're just gonna do this really slow build. It's gonna pay off. And I was like, I'm okay, whatever you say. And then I squatted 170 for 7, and it wasn't that hard. And I was like, damn, I feel like I could have done that for 10. Like, I feel like I could have done it for more. And then it was like that 182 and a half for 4, and then I pulled 200 for 5, which
Yeah.
matches my
Yeah.
all-time best when I was, God, probably 15 kilos heavier. And I was like, oh, am I are we getting strong again? Like, are we getting really strong again? And like something that has really helped, like not only the programming, but the last time I talked to you guys, I was like starving going into the
Right.
Arnold. Like I was miserably hungry and I was like, I have to make weight. So a lot of that was attributed to that, like my total, and like it's just like a performance, and I was like, it's whatever, like it's fine. Um, I worked really closely with a dietitian this time around, the same guy that I was working with earlier, Michael, and he was like, "Look, you need to like bulk up a little bit in off season, so it's okay that you gain a little bit of weight, and we'll get you back down." So at the heaviest I was in training, I was 204, which is like I don't even know how many, 92 kilos, like 92 and a
Yeah.
half. This morning I was 197.6, I think. So I'm about a pound under, and I'm gonna go like pull a fat deadlift tonight. So
Yeah.
like it's cool because like that I was always under the impression that like more body weight means you're stronger. And now I've like kind of like proved myself wrong, that it's like what kind of doesn't matter. It's like
Yeah.
what kind of training, what does your training look like? What's your work capacity look like? All of those things, and then like how does it all go together? So like the last, I've had like pretty good dots at 100 plus at 100, and now I'm like, okay, now I'm ready for an even better dots at 90. And when I pulled that 200 for 5, I texted Josh and I was like, I'm the strongest I've ever been. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like actually, and it's such a cool feeling because I remember talking to you guys and I was like, I've just been eating shit for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like I've just been like kicked in my ass and kicked in my ass and kicked in my ass. And I feel like all of the work is finally coming together. Like all the puzzle pieces are falling into place, and because we intentionally put them there, not because like, oh, we're just really lucky. Like I have worked really hard and Josh has written really smart programs to get me ready for this. Um, so I have high expectations for this. I feel really good, like despite being like beat up from training, like, 2 weeks out from a meet, like I feel pretty good. And I'm excited to see like what kind of total we can put together, what our dots will look like, and we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll say
Oh,
this, to give Danny some flowers, and I think Josh, you and Kyle can agree. Um, the thing a coach needs more than anything to let their expertise actually show is consistency. It's like she showed up every single session, every single week, every single month, every single year, besides like purposeful vacations or time off.
yeah.
And it's like without that, as a coach, you just guess because you're like, I mean,
Mhm.
if training's not consistent, if effort's not there, if we're missing sessions, if it's kind of unpredictable, it's like I'm just kind of trying to figure out how to make something out of this mess of shit that you're giving me. And Danny has been the height of consistency and dedication and commitment. And that allows me as a coach to like one, refine my craft, which is okay, you're not doing well. My coaching is bad, objectively. So it's like, let's improve it. And it's like, okay, here's a theory. Let's put the fucking steel to the grindstone and see what happens. And it worked, but it worked because she also has those things in place. And at the high school level, you guys probably see this. Like things can be so inconsistent when people don't make progress. Like, am I a bad coach, or is it just because there's like 75% attendance on sessions or
Right.
50% or, things are so haywire. So,
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a really common pitfall that people fall into. They'll change their diet, they'll change their sleep routine, they'll change their training all at the same time, and then they're like, "Hey, that diet was really the trick." And it was like, or maybe
yeah,
it's the fact that you actually quit
Yeah.
sleeping, or maybe it's the
totally.
workout you were,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you do have to be pretty disciplined about how frequently you're making changes, and
Mhm.
and giving yourself time to adjust to things and see how they work and
Or
everything.
assuming you understand exactly what
Hmm.
the actual like what brought on the positive change. Like
Yeah, and one of the nice things about having a coach is the accountability piece. Like one of the things that like consistently shows up in training research and diet research is that people are really terrible at self-reporting. They're not good at judging
Yeah.
how hard they work. They're not good at recording what they ate. They're not good at telling how strong they are. It's a skill that takes quite a while to develop. And so like
Yeah.
if you don't have somebody to keep you accountable or somebody to talk to about it, it's really easy to fall in those pitfalls of like, I don't know why this isn't working.
yeah, anecdotally, like so as a football coach, usually once a summer I'll do like a diet, like just like a 3-day or sometimes a 7-day little like little diet diary for the kids. And on the football team to make sure that they know, because almost every young boy will say, "Coach, I eat so much. I eat so much," which normally I've learned is like they eat a lot at dinner, and then they probably have dessert.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I am consistently see young kids in our community that are under 1,000 calories that then are over 2,000 because they're out all day on a boat or whatever. You know what I mean? Might have had a little snack and then they eat dinner. So it's like, dude, you just like exercise for 3 hours. Some of them are multi-sport athletes, and it's like if you just fixed your diet a little bit, like you're gonna have such big, and then they'll probably like, you know, they'll change their diet with something else, and they'll just be like, "Oh, Monroe, your programming sucked. I started doing this. I started doing this. I also ate."
Well, and I would say with kind of the point you guys are making, Dr. Jacob Gooden, who was on the Philosophical Weightlifting podcast recently, he made a great point. He said sometimes it's the strategic removal of pieces of training that will help lead to progress. And it's like if you don't have consistent training, I mean that's basically what a taper is, right? If you're not consistently training, it's like, what the fuck's a taper? You've been tapering for 3 months. So it's that idea of like, so when training's consistent, like I know some levers we can pull is like, let's pull back. We'll pull back on some of the accessory work, some of the volume, some of the intensity, and you see a change. And then you can say, okay, we have a sense of where we're going, or we can stimulate progress. But if it's inconsistent, it's like, we're just always fresh and tapered. But that means fuck all for PR performances.
Yeah. How do you manage? So, Arnold's was in March, right? Am I right on my date?
Yeah, that's right.
So it's only 3 months out. So like, what is I generally, program in longer chunks, because I can do whatever I want because I don't really ever compete. I just like training. I'm just a cave troll with weights. But like, how do you manage you've just gone through a peak and everything. So like general fitness isn't going to be as high. How do you recoup that fitness and then go into a peak again in 3 months? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, from a programming standpoint, it's that 4 weeks initially where it's start with sets of 4, sets of 5, sets of 6, and build. I think I just kind of made shit. I mean, you kind of make shit up when you write programs, but it's like on the compounds we're going to increase by 2 reps, or 1 rep. On the accessory work we'll increase by 2 reps, and then build that volume over 4 weeks. And then I would use more of like an undulating model, which is maybe on that first week, I always like to run intro week. So we'll run an intro week. We'll spike the volume up, pull it down, bring it back up. So I found my coaching kind of really went up to the next level. My programming kind of elevated to the next level when I could look at the entire time we have from competition to competition, and I could break up weeks by what their emphasis would be, which is, okay, we're going to add volume here, pull back on volume here, and you can manipulate it, and then you have reps or some measure to go along with that. So I could see, over 16 weeks, we're going to have a 5-week block that builds over 3 and then pulls down over 2, and then I can use reps to kind of manipulate that. And that like control of volume, that like more precise control really, really helped and made things a lot more predictable. So that we can taper because we have been training hard, and she did do a lot of volume 2 weeks ago because I intentionally programmed it like that. And then the intensity is going to come up. We're going to decrease volume by, call it 10%, and then kind of bring it back down for a peak into a meet. So we built reps slowly and then kind of played around with like high volume weeks to kind of keep volume up throughout at certain time periods. And then as we get closer to a meet, it's just more of a gradual tapering off. So I think that ability to play with volume can allow you to build fitness in shorter blocks of time.
Yeah. Danny, what is it? So I'm really interested in, I want to build like there's no way for me to say this and not sound weird, but like a body feels library, when you do volume work, like a lot of times you leave and you just have that great feeling of being like drained, like your body just doesn't want to do what you want it to do anymore. And it's amazing. It's a wonderful feeling to be in. And then when you start getting to where you're like pushing big weights and stuff, sometimes it's really uncomfortable. Sometimes you feel really strong, but you definitely leave with a different feeling. So like, what's it like as an athlete? Like, when you go through that where you've got like some peaks in volume and then you're slowly ramping up your intensities and stuff, do you ever feel like get like whiplash in the training, like where you're like, oh, yesterday I just beat myself to death, and then now I've got to go in there and do something that feels totally different, or like what's that
Yeah.
experience like for you?
I call it crashing out. So I crash out a lot. And I preface the message with, "Hey guys, I'm crashing out right now." But I think like what a good like reminder for me, and like I've been training for so long now that it's like
Yeah.
there are good days and bad days always. And most of the time, you have like normal days. And
Yeah.
that's where you live is in your normal days. And that's okay. So when I have those like really shitty days is when like earlier we were talking about like I'm gonna have these really big feelings and I need you to hold them for me. That's when I'm like, hey, I'm having these big feelings, I'm crashing out, and I need you to either talk me down, like reason with me, or tell me why this feels so bad. And without fail, either my coach Josh, my best friend Julie, or my husband Mike can can do one of those things for me and be like, this is why this feels bad. Trust your coach, trust your training, trust your dietitian, like trust all of it. And I think at the end of the day, like it makes you a better athlete to just like push through those really shitty days and just be like, all right, and I can keep going on. I read Jordan Chiles's book a couple of months ago, and I think she actually got this from an Olympic ice skater, but her mom used to tell her like you can quit, but you can't quit on a bad day. So I remind myself
Yeah.
that a lot, that I'm like, this feels like shit. I've been feeling
Yeah.
like shit for 2 weeks now. I don't want to do this. I'm gonna quit. And then I'm like, but it was a bad day. So I can't, because nobody wants to quit on a good day, right? You have a good day, you're like, I'm on
Right.
top of the world, like I can do anything. And then on the normal days, you're just like, well, this is just part of the deal that I made. Um, so I think that's helped me like uh bring some of those big feelings to like medium-sized feelings of
Yeah.
just like it's okay, it happens. Like I said, I've been training for so long now that it's just like part of the journey, and like part of the ride, that it's like we do it. Josh reminded me of this actually earlier this week. We do this because we love that part of the journey. Like you
Mm.
love experiencing like the good and the bad.
Hmm.
So it's like the deal that you make when you sign up for a powerlifting meet.
Yeah.
Well, and I just coached over, was it last weekend? And Leah, one of my athletes, Leah, who I went to high school with, but I wasn't really friends with, which is insane because like 15 years later, I've been coaching her for like 4 or 5 years. And she clean and jerked 90 kilos, which is like milestone, lifetime PR,
Yeah.
huge lift. Didn't see it coming, but her back squat started to blow up right as we were peaking, like 4 kilo PR and fucking smoked it. Good positioning. And when she hit that 90, I have like this sequence of photos I'll send you guys. I lost my shit. Like I lost my shit. I still can't find it. But after that, I realized like you need those up to dates of like, oh my God, actually competing and fucking succeeding is the greatest feeling ever. And I remember that. And then I'm like, Danny, no, you forgot. It's been too long. You forgot.
Yeah.
Just wait. Just wait until nationals. Wait till you show up. Wait till you're at the venue. Wait until you're in the back room. Wait till you go out for your first attempt. Wait till you pull your third deadlift and you're like, I couldn't have imagined that day happening, but it did. And like you lose sight of that. And a coach is there to be like, hey, remember this is like the fucking coolest thing you've ever done before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Are we at?
Yeah,
I
we're
remember you
there.
saying
We're
108.
time. Guys, I'm really excited to see how Nationals turns out for you. I'll be watching, so I'm hoping it's amazing. Thank you guys both for being on. I really don't want to end the show. I'm having a great time, but time happens, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and hit the stop button. But thanks so much. Hey, Josh, where can they find all your stuff?
You can find me on Instagram at Josh_Phil, WL, that's PHILWL, and Philosophical Weightlifting everywhere else.
Yeah, Danny.
On Instagram, Danny Lifts Heavy.
All right, all right. Thanks everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Helps out the show a ton. We really appreciate you.
Bye.